Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We are, what am I looking at? Oh, we're looking at sugar there. I was looking at the 10-year French bond, really. I was paying attention to that a little bit today because, the way France is upside down and, they're trying to use lawfare on Le Pen and so forth, and the people are fed up and they want a change of government, and just the whole story of France at this moment. The way it's trying to, I guess you could say, it's trying to freeze time. I think that's what it really comes down to, is that when you have free markets and free people, what you get is you get change for the better and the worse at times. But overall, if it's really, really free markets and free people, then what happens is that the marketplace basically changes to what works the best. Okay, and then when you have static government or command and control government, you end up like the Soviet Union. You disappear, and then so forth. In other words, the less freedom, the less growth. The more freedom, the more growth, more evolution and development. And so it just seems to be that way. I think the fantasy really is that they figure that the ones who believe in less government, more of a Marxist type of structure, communist type of structure, or socialist type of structure, whatever you want to call it, in the end result is trying to stop time. That's really what it's trying to do. When in fact, I think their logic is that they are hoping that more time and more opportunity for people by the government giving it to them is going to advance their society, but it never does. That's the amazing part, is that it never does, but they don't really appreciate that situation. So they're always convinced that the more government and less freedom is going to make life better, when in fact it doesn't do it. And it takes a lot of, I remember reading an article in Wired magazine, and they were saying that about 8 or 9 years ago now, and the article basically said that if Joe Stalin of the Soviet Union had computers, he could have made communism work, and that they, in the new socialist type of people, they believe that. They really, to this day, they think that a bigger and stronger government and more taxes so that they can grow, the government can grow, will make life better for people. Paradise. And, they talked about the Soviet Union for years as paradise. It could give you what you need to grow, when in fact it does the opposite. It takes it away. So anyway, I was looking at the French market because at this point they're doing everything they can not to grow. They're doing everything they can to, and our Democrats here in the United States were the same way. They, one size fits all. They just see it that way. And I was looking at the French. Matter of fact, let's go to like the last month. Here's the French bond in price. So in other words, the price has come down, and when a price comes down on a bond, I'm sorry, in this case here, this is not the price, this is the yield. So this is what it's yielding in interest. And so it's been coming down in interest, not price. Whereas normally we look at bonds, in price. We look at the price of the bond. Instead, we're seeing the yield. See, it says there, right there, it says yield. And so I was just looking at that because they're doing their best to try to stall change. And because of that, when we really look at the bond market in France for the last year, there it is right there. You can see it was down in here, yielding 2.48, and blew up all the way to the disaster of the government, up to what's the high there? 3.35. So it almost went up a full percentage point. Like 0.90, I guess you could say, something like that. 88.88, and then I guess there was a hope that things were straightening out, and then they had the election up in here, and it was like, oh, okay, maybe things will work out, and then you can see it started to rise again up to 320, and here we are at 298 right now in yield. So it's not the best. I mean, obviously, you go back 5 years, you can see it was yielding, well, under crazy, it was yielding at below. It was a minus. There was no yield at all. In other words, you put out, a €10,000, and you bought a French bond, and at the same time you could pay 0.31% to the government at the same time. So you bought the bond with €10,000, and at the same time you had to pay interest to the government. I know, that's insane, just totally insane. And so then, I guess you could say, then it started to change. Then the COVID came along, and then once once the massive inflation in the United States kicked up during the beginning of the Biden administration, that first year, you can see the explosion because the world had inflation. We moved up the U.S. bond. Let's show you the U.S. bond. How do I find these things? There must be a spot there somewhere. I guess if I hit the back arrow, it'll show it to me. We can show it to you the same way again. The U.S. bond, right there. And we'll look at the 10-year there. And the 10-year bond, let's see, let's go back 5 years. And you can see the U.S. bond was yielding about 1%. And it got the 1.25. And then when the inflation exploded, it ran all the way up to basically 5% right there on the 10-year bond, 5.00. And you can see it's still hanging out in the fours, mid fours, low fours, that type of thing. During the Trump years, we were down in the ones and twos, that type of thing. We had no real big inflation whatsoever. But anyway, just looking at the bonds, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. Let's jump over to the dollar this morning. Good morning to all. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening somewhere. Let's take a look at the dollar index. And I heard somebody say something this morning. It was very interesting. They were saying that, they talk up the dollar in the United States, but they don't do anything about it really, which is really nice. In other words, we try not to influence it. We try to let the dollar float. I mean, that's a whole long story about, does it really float? Is it influenced by, the central bank, so forth and so on? It's semi-influenced. There's no doubt about it. We know that all the central banks influence their markets. And you could take it to the most extreme, looking at one of the big industrial nations like China, it has it fixed to the dollar, their currency. And when their currency, when our dollar goes up, they change their currency. And when it goes down, they change their currency. It's fixed to it. Hong Kong, same way. And then you have, the euro and the British pound and so forth. They move a little bit more independently, a lot more independently. Like ours, it floats, so it can be influenced by the marketplace itself. And so when looking at the dollar per se, is it really being fixed? In my heart, I want to say yes, because the central bank raises interest rates and lowers interest rates. That has an influencing factor, money supply. And why are we talking about the bond yield right now? How's that to have anything to do with currencies? Basically, what happens is that currencies move pretty much by the interest rate that the country has and the inflation rate that the country has and the potential growth or lack of growth the country has. They're the fundamentals of the economy. So, and the fundamentals of also the currency. So, like we can look at the euro this morning, and the euro right there, and let's put it up on the screen. There's the euro, and you can see it also on the spreadsheet. Let's go over to the spreadsheet. This morning we're looking at the euro right there, and it's 9 weeks in a sell but 1 day in a buy. And let's put it up on the screen. There, right there. You see we're still a second day in the buy, a little bit down for the day, but overall it's still strong, even with it being down in our math, because we have the daily histogram still plus. Even with the algorithm turning, it's still in a buy and could last a couple days. At the same time, the longer term chart, the weekly, has been in a sell since back up in here, and it's trying to bounce. You can see the lines are turning up. You see the histogram is not as low as it was last week, and it's actually taken out moved up above this one and starting to try to check out the low of this, or I guess it's this one right there. So we're seeing a little strength in there, and we might even see it get back up to this blue line there. What was the blue line? 108. And it's amazing. We blew down to 103.32. That's just that overall strength of free markets and free people. The American economy is going to become extremely more dynamic again, like it was under Trump before. It was incredible growth and some of the best growing years in our history as a country. And we reduced taxes. The more you lower taxes, the more growth you get, the more money people have. The politicians who believe in controlling us have less power. That's what it all comes down to. I know it's a strange thing. I know people go, oh, they're talking politics. Politics runs the world. It runs the economies. Increase your taxes, you'll have less growth. A sip of our tea. And we're drinking sage tea. We grow it here on the property itself at the little farm here. All right, and from there we go over to the cable. And you can see the cable doing the same thing. It's jumped into a daily buy there yesterday. And you can see the weekly sell right there. Went into the sell up in here that week. At the end of the week, we put in the sell. The line, basically, if it breaks the manifold, like right here, and it wasn't in the sell, we would put that line right there where it broke the manifold. But we're already in a sell right there, so there's no reason to emphasize the fact that we're in a weekly sell, because we've been in that weekly sell, as the spreadsheet shows. Right there, we're in a weekly sell and a daily buy now. 8 weeks in a weekly sell. This is the 9th week, and 1 day in a buy. So I guess there's a little hope that there's going to be some growth, in the other economies, and interest rates might go down, and possibly even taxes go down, just so to compete. In other words, America is the engine. The world is the train cars being pulled by the engine. And now that we are back into a capitalist mode, the world will grow economy-wise, and you'll see it in the other currencies. If they do things that are very positive, you'll see the other currency pairs do better. During the Trump years, you can see that the dollar was very strong, and we had the euro in particular, since that's the second most active economy in the world. The European Union, the second largest economy in the world, the European Union, and the second most active currency in the world. It kind of gives you that example. We can go back and look at the Trump years from, I guess it's a little hard to go back 5 years on this. Let's see. Maybe we should do it on something else. Let's see. Let's do it this way. Let's go to here and there, and we'll put this up on the screen for you. Let's see. Euro dollar pairs trade. Around here somewhere. Euro dollar pairs trade. I think that's it right there. There it is. Go. We got that, and so we'll go like that, copy it, and then put it in. Let's see where we put it. We'll put it go like this. Like that. And we'll be able to go back a bunch of years. That's what I miss about not having Forex anymore. J4X, I really miss that. You know, maybe we'll get the laws changed in the States and we'll be able to trade Dukascopy here. All right, here it comes. And we're going to throw up a 5-year chart. And then try doing a I'm not sure why it's doing that. It's only showing us a very short period of time here. Maybe I have to blow this up. And let me show you what I'm playing with. So let's see. Oh, how do we take it? Oh, I guess an advanced chart might do it. There we go. And range, data range. We want to go maybe I could manually do it. Let's just go 17. Oh, no. Yeah, 17. There we are. Is that right? Yeah. Apply. Is that doing it? I think they're, yeah, that does. I guess it's doing it in a monthly way. What's that? That is 24 again. So I guess it's calculating it. I really do miss J4X. See, I'd love to be able to see the rest of this. Why not? I guess I have to manually do it some way. Oh, let's go monthly. See, it won't let me see all that. That's too bad. There's 5 years. And it seems to want to just do it to there. But in the end result, is it, let's see, how else can we look at this? Maybe this is this a futures contract? Is that why it's doing that? Let's see if we can do this. Euro. Oh, maybe this is it. Here we go. Let's see if it'll do it this way. Euro, let's see if it does it that way. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, there we are. So, and I guess what we really want is we want the opposite side of this. We want dollar euro. So let's put that in there. Oop, we'll go like this. Copy that and just reverse it. Copy. And then we'll be able to see it, and then you'll understand it more because you're used to looking at the other way. So EUR, and then USD, like that, and then hit enter. There we go. So you can see here during the, let's see, where's it at? That makes sense. So there's the Trump years where the euro drifted down to 103. Is that right? Where we were down at, we made new lows in 22 on the euro down to 95. All right, let's just go back on my machine because I think I can get back to 22. That's no problem. Let's see, just keep on scrunching it. Okay, let's just add some time to it. And let's see if we can get this into that same situation. Format. Settings. And let's go back. There we go. Alright, so then we go like this. This may show us. Let's see. So that is. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. There's the euro going back to, there's 22. And so it's just showing us the top at that point. I have to put further back. There is 17. So there's the euro. Mr. Trump comes into office, and the euro runs up in the beginning to 120. I guess we had the Brexit thing going on at that point. Let me see if we can do this better and faster. There's 18. It's up to 125. Mr. Trump passes his tax thing. And we go down to 110 in 2019. Then 2000. See, I guess COVID hits. That's what it is. It's COVID hits there. We get down to, was it the 106. And then I guess it's the inflation that does it. That's what it is. It's the inflation. Really punishes the euro. Falls all the way back to 2000. I'm sorry, not 0.95. That is in 22 at the peak of our inflation. You know, we're at 5% interest rates the whole bit. I think that's what it is. I guess the 5% interest rates really kicked out somewhere around in here. And you know, that was just, you know, where the Powell and everybody were talking about inflation and it's transitory, don't worry about it, and people started to realize, yeah, you got to worry about it. And it knocked the everybody ran to the dollar because they thought the world was going to collapse, I guess. And you saw all the currencies drop down. And then as time went on, you know, it came back to life, and it's not up to 122. It got up to like around 112, and now it's been playing down into the 104s again because of, I guess, the lack of growth and more growth in the United States. And I guess we'll see how that rolls along. So from there, let's just widen it and bring it back to there. And then we're seeing that same action in cable right there. Cable's, you know, down at one of the lows of the last, I guess, last couple of years. That seems to be the politics. So I guess we could wonder. I could take a look and see. Let's see. Petition in England for election. Let's see where we're at now on that. Yesterday it was 2.7 million. And let's see where we're at now. Let's see, call an immediate general election petition. They picked up, I guess, another 288,000 votes. Let's see if we can find where they're at now today. Petition in England for election 2024. Who are the 2 million? Okay. Petition to call 3 days ago. Today. 5 hours ago. Here we go. They're at 2.8 million now. I thought yesterday they were around 2.7 million. They've picked up another 100,000 votes. E-petition. Yeah, they keep on. I love that headline. 2.8 million people really signed it. Obviously, there we go. Now it's 2.81 million. Oh, wait a minute. They got 2.83 million as of 7 a.m. today. Okay. So that's that constant question mark. Anyhow, that's where they are, and notice we seem to be having a little bounce as the petition grows. We'll see, and go from there. All right, from there we'll go to Swiss. Swiss pushed into the sell. You can see, not sure. I guess that was a range we were paying attention to at one point. Now it's trapped in this blue dotted range. We're, weeks in the weekly sell. What is that? That's for. So this is the 9th week in a weekly buy. It's been coming up, because of that. And last 2 days we've pushed into the sell. Let's steal one of these sells here. We'll see how that holds up. Then from there, we'll jump over to the yen. The yen's doing that same thing. We're on a 4th day of a seller, a little pop up, and it's flirting with that weekly sell there. It's going to be a challenge. We've like in the United States, we usually pay attention to on this particular holiday week. What we do is we look at Wednesday as the end of the week. And so today we're closed, but they are trading. There's no doubt they are trading. You can see here the U.S. stock market, the electronic market is trading, but it's very quiet. We're looking at, let's see, where did they settle? They settled the futures contract at, this is the S&P 500. They settled it at 615.75. And right now, 15.75. So we're basically up 9 full points. That's pretty good. Same thing here. Here's the NQ, or the Tech 100, settled yesterday at 20,816 and a half. 816 and a half. We're at 69 and a half, basically 70 and a half. So 16. So that's 54 points. The Dow Jones Industrial Average settled yesterday at right there at 44,828. 828. We're trading at 882, 828. So that's basically 54 points up for the day. And the weakest of our stock indices, the Russell 2000, settled yesterday at 8. Where's it at? Right there. 2,435, and we're at 49, so we're up 15 points. So that's pretty good. It's doing way better than the NASDAQ, and the percentage-wise, and the S&P 500, at percentage and price-wise. I mean, not price, but I mean, a gain for the day, showing lots of strength there. So it's pretty. The weakest, they're buying the weakest of the stocks and companies because they believe that this is a new age of growth. So they're stepping up and they're buying. And that's the action we're seeing there. Let's see what this is. So. From there, we shoot back over to the currencies. Take a look at, not there, right there. There we go. You see Turkey. Turkey went into the buy yesterday. Let's get a buy. Let's grab a buy. There's a buy we can grab. Throw that in there. We're at a buy. We were 17 days in a sell. We are still in a weekly sell of, what is it on the spreadsheet? You can see right there, we're 9 weeks in a weekly sell, going on the 10th week and 1 day in a daily buy. So that's been some of the best performance we've seen now in the Turkish lira in years, in 3.5 years. That's algorithmically, I mean, 3.5 years ago, the product was trading in the 8s and 9s. Now we're trading in the 36s. So that's pretty painful. But the last 9 weeks, we went into that weekly sell back here. See it right up in here. Whoa, didn't mean to lift that stuff up. There we are. Put that back where it belongs. So we've been in a weekly sell since the 38.30 area, 38.30s area. And we've fallen now all the way down to, well, here was a big spike down. Somebody needed to get out. It got down to 34.85, and here the low is 35.76. So, we've come down into these two low areas. We trust these spikes. You usually see when I had J4, actually would see those spikes. So other data sources showed us that those spikes were real, and so we're seeing that pressure now. It's starting to do a little turn here, and that may be more because of the strength of the euro than anything else. But that's where we are with the currencies. So last but not least, we go over to the South African rand. Let's see what they're doing with the South African rand. I did see some news. They're having riots down there again. No wonder the currency's having problems. And it's like, this what do they call it? A coalition government. It has a lot of issues. The Marxists. It's the Marxist side of the ANC that broke away, and Mobutu, I believe, is now the party leader of it, but he's there's warrants for his arrest for murder, and so he's not living in South Africa anymore. So he has his political party has separated from the ANC, and they're very strong Marxists. And so now we have an ANC side where they're just socialists and they're a little less violent, but they're having riots and shootings and things like that down there. That's why the currency, since the ANC took over, I wonder if we could get a longer term view of the rand. Let's see, which one can we use? How about we just do this? What is the symbol on that? USD. Let's let Google do it. USD, US to the ruble. How about that? That must be a very popular thing right now, that it comes up like that. South African rand trading in that is 1817 area. And let's see if we can go maximum just to see. Okay, there we go. Now, when did the ANC really take over? ANC, Robert Mugabe? Yeah, I think that's what it is. No, Robert Mugabe was Zimbabwe/Rhodesia. Nelson Mandela, that's what it was. ANC, Nelson Mandela. And he became president in Nelson Mandela 97, I guess it is. 91 to 97. Okay, so let's see if we can see the currency all the way back to there. I wonder if we can make this bigger. Not share, but let's see if we can make this bigger. Let's see. Trader's view. Let's see if this does it. See if we can control how far back we went with this. Super charts. Okay, we'll try that. We really want to go back to, and it seems to only want to go back to 2015, that other chart. Oh, maybe it will. Here we go. There we go. Now we can see it. And let's put this up on the screen. There it is right there. So you can see, going back to 90, I guess he took over in 91. Yeah, so he took over in 91 to 97. And you can see here's 91 right there. The rand was at 2.5, and to the end of his presidency, the rand had doubled almost, went up to 4.8. And then the next president was another ANC, and the product went from 4.5, I guess you could say 4.8 right there, to I guess it's like a 6 year thing. So we go 2003. There's 2003, right? Well, let's see what that is. It got up to 12. Got up to 13.8. So it doubled. So no, it tripled almost. Say 5 point. Yeah, it's like 4.5 is the double. It would be 9, and then another 4.5 would be 13. So it tripled under the ANC from there. And then I guess the next president was much more coherent, and it got down to 6. And then you see it jump back to the 12-ish area under the next presidency. So 2003, then in 2009. So right there towards the end. And then the next president, it went from about 6.5 up to 17 going into 2016. Let's see, 2009. So 2005 would have been 2000. Let's see, 2009. Let's see, 2000, 2006. I'm sorry, 2003, then 2009, and then 2015. So it was the 4th ANC president. And then we seen the situation where it bounces around in the 11s and 12s, and new election was here, and it was at 20, and they've brought it down to 17. I guess they could get down 6 points, maybe. It seems to do something like that, 4 or 5 points, 6 points. So it's gotten down about 3 points, almost 4. So, but now they have a coalition government, but it's still, socialist, and they're having riots and so forth, and I guess that's the issue of it all. So you see here the South African rand. Now, in many ways, it's interesting is that you can see these big drops like that in the AN. Let me just show it to you, because usually we coordinate. We always coordinate the metals market with this. So this big drop with the rand all the way down to 13. We saw gold go to 2,000. We've seen gold go to $2,800, and so that's the all-time high now. Dollar gold. Let's take a look at gold right here. And I said yesterday, gold was kind of weak, kind of sloppy, and they got it up about $30 at one point, right there from the close of I guess it's there's the close of Monday. There, it was lifted up. So close of Monday was at 2,618, and over the next 2 days it got up to 39. So it's like 23. And then today it's up a little bit more. Closed yesterday at 39, and today it's trading at 43. So it's about $4 or $5. They're showing it there. There, you see it right there, $4. So as much as I said it looked weak, because of it in the sell on the weekly sell. Oops, now I really messed it up. Let's see if we can push that back up again. Let's do this. Let's see if we do it the smarter way. Format. Let's see what are we doing here. Close. Indicator. Let's see, they're both on the same plot. So we want the weekly. Property bottom. Let's just go like that. That should do it. Is that doing it? I think it did it. There we are. So now we're in the weekly sell right there. Let me put that back in again. After like 19 weeks in a buy. And so the South African rand is trying to move down. You can see it right here. and they kind of follow the pattern. They do seem to follow the pattern. But you can see today, as much as I think there's weakness, let's remove that. You can see right here at the 0 line. Wait a minute, what is this? Yeah, that's okay. So we want it to be that. There we are. So you can see right here, it's trying to climb up through the 0 line and get into a buy. We're still in a weekly sell, so as far as I'm concerned, this is all weak and it's just a dead cat bounce. But it is trying to climb again today, just like it now. It's dropped another $1.30 as we speak about it. But overall, as far as I'm concerned, this is just a very weak bounce, and we'll see how they play it out. But we're in the weekly sell and that, and I think this is the only metal that's in the plus. But yesterday they drove it up as much as $30. At one point it closed up about $16 or $15. But I still see it as weak, solely because, and I have to explain that because that was part of the title yesterday. So we're seeing this weakness still, but they are trying to get it back into the daily sell, daily buy right there. But the weekly sell is still on. You can see here on silver, there's the March contract. It's down just 30 cents or something like that. And that's the March contract. There's the December contract, which we'll be moving out of in the next couple days. So see that pressure on that. Monday is the 2nd, is December 2nd on Monday. So we'll be moving into the March contracts from there. You can see 4 weeks in a sell here with no problem. Copper, here's the March contract. It's keeping pretty much pace now with the December contract. That's 5 full weeks in a sell. You can see it's also 6 days in a sell. And it's still flirting with the lows to some extent. There's the low right there, really, about 10 days back. What we're looking at there is at $4.06.5. And today it's trading at $4.12.5, basically. So it's about 6 cents higher over the last 2, 4, 6 days. It's, well, actually not. It went into the sell at $4.16 or 16.5, basically, right there. So it's definitely lower, but overall, the last couple of days, they keep on trying to pop it up. It's not doing too good a job. And then we can take a look at the December contract right there. Same situation. In that sell from $4 and in this case here, it was 12.5 and got down to 4.25, 4.04.25. And right now we're trading at $4 and I guess it's like 5 cents now. Pushing on the lows again. We're seeing that same pressure on the metals complex. So to me, the metals are weak, but gold, has that. This situation in Ukraine definitely has, gold being bought. They're, concerned. They're concerned because Mr. Trump doesn't take full control. He's doing a lot of things. People are negotiating with him, they're not negotiating. He's telling them what he thinks, and they're telling him how much they agree and doing what he wants. I think that's pretty cool. Matter of fact, we have peace negotiations going on now with Hamas and Israel after they resolved. Let's get rid of this. After they have a peace deal now with Lebanon. So, it's they're getting things done. Mr. Trump is getting things done by just telling them what he thinks, and they just do it. My goodness gracious! Talk about gunboat diplomacy in a funny way. He's like that picture they had with back in the 1960s, where they would put daisies in rifles, in the barrel of a rifle. And they hold the rifle up, aimed up in the sky, and you'd have a daisy in there, meaning peace instead of war. All right. From there, we go over to, we'll shoot over to platinum. See what platinum is up to. And there's platinum. Platinum, even that is getting a green and red dot today and it's trying to lift up a little bit. But pretty much most of the metals are weak. And boy, look how much they've buried the weekly. Makes you want to believe that they're going to try to do a bounce, you know. I mean, look at that last time they did a deep dive like that. He had a nice dead cat bounce, went into a buy, and lasted for a while. So maybe we'll start to put a bottom in. I always think platinum should really be running mad, you know, running up compared to getting sold down. And then from there we'll go over to the energy sector. So let's jump back over to beta, and let's put in. Well, let's start off with Brent. We did show you yesterday the platform was back up again right at the very end of the webinar. Right there, there's Brent. And Brent is a little bit lower today than yesterday. It settled at 72.83 yesterday, and today it's trading at 72.65. So that's kind of quiet. The algorithms you can see here are still in the minus for 4 days now. And you can also see on the weekly algorithm, you see it's pushed into the sell with no problem all week long now. From there, we'll go over to West Texas Intermediate, or basically the American oil contract. And it's a little bit different. It's, you know, it closed yesterday at $68.72. Today we are trading at $69.05. Yeah, $68.72. So 69.06 basically. So you're talking about 28 cents, something like that, 32 cents. But you can see the weekly. The daily's in the sell for 4 days right there. Oh, I'm not showing you that. Darn it. There we are. So you see, same situation like the Brent. It's in the weekly sell. And at the same time, 4 days in a daily sell. So that's just still pushing into the... they're trying to take it down. Matter of fact, he had an interesting conversation with Trudeau up in Canada, too. And Trudeau is very happy to help him also. And there's the Alberta, I forget what they call them, premiers that run, they have 5 or 6 states. I think they call them provinces. So the premier of Alberta said, yeah, we'd like to start the pipeline again. And people are saying, like, is that possible? So we'll see. See if the pipeline gets finished. All right. Let's see. From there, we go to, let's do natural gas, and then we'll go and look at, let's see, natural gas down lower. That's what it is. There's natural gas. I thought we put the January in there. See, it got knocked down for a couple of days and then back up again. Let me see. I could have sworn we put January in there yesterday for you. We put something in there yesterday. Maybe it was just the crude. Yeah, January crude. Heating oil. Okay. So, let's see what January crude is doing on the other chart. If I need to. And it's not showing as much strength. Let's put it up on the screen here. Natural gas. Let's give it a refresh. And natural gas December, which is popping. Oh no, you know what? It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. So let's put the new one in. So let's go. What's it? Quants. Make a copy of that right there. Copy. And then let me do this. Let me just get rid of, no, let's just put it in first. And we'll show you the January contract. Products. Add. Paste. So we make that F. We make that 5, 2025. There we go. Jan. Nat. Gas. There we are. Create. There we go. Okay, there it is right there. Let's just let me have it. Let's turn it on for Robin too. And then me. And if anybody out there would like to try it, just contact Robin. Let's see, me right there. Okay, there we go. And then let me just go down and remove this one. Where's it at? Natural gas right there. No, not that one. I'm going to go to the bottom. There we go. The December one. Right there. And remove that. Yes. Okay, it's gone. Now let's go check it out. There it is right there. And it's still down. You can see that pressure there. It was down yesterday, and it's got a little bounce going on. There's no doubt. It's turned back up a little bit. Made a new low and then turned up. See how the algorithm looks? You see we are 4 days in a sell there. And you can see also at the same time, we've slid into the weekly sell down here. Okay. So that pretty much takes care of those. Let's take a look at heating oil. Right there, there's heating oil. And we always explain that as, you know, some people in the world call it kerosene, some call it diesel, some call it heating oil. It's all the same thing. You can see it's up a little bit like everything else, but still 4 days in a sell and in a weekly sell at the moment, and breaking down well. All right. From there, we'll go take a look at Spain and see how the energy company's doing. There it is right there. See, it's been very firm. You know, you're getting those, you know, I've been watching the weather. You guys are getting some really cold weather. But, you know, there's a good chance that Mr. Trump is going to be shipping oil, natural gas and everything else to you, and literally by January 21st. So half of the winter will be much cheaper. Let's put it that way. I know that January and February prices are usually the highest. So this will be good. So just as they're trying to lift up, it'll get sold down. All right, and then so that just shows you there how they're doing with the energy sector. So why don't we take a look around the world. Here is Shanghai. And you see it's been firm for 2 days, and it's in a buy for 2 days. But it's been in a weekly sell now for 2 weeks. So you don't want to play the long side of this. You want to play the short side of it. So, you know, in other words, when you got that sell signal, you could trade that. Or you got that sell signal, you could trade that. Somewhere around in here you could trade that sell signal. So it's been pretty good. Now we jumped back up again yesterday, and now we're a little bit lower today. Nothing major, but we are just a little bit lower and made a higher high than yesterday. Let's jump over to Hong Kong. Hong Kong may push down a little bit more. That was only down about 0.44 when it comes to Shanghai. But when it came to Hong Kong, they took that down much harder. Right there, there's the Hang Seng. Now they're taking that down a little bit more, but it's still an algorithm. Well, you could never get long it solely because we've been in a weekly sell throughout all these weeks. So, anytime it goes into a buy, you just leave it alone. You're neutral. Unless you have a particular reason why you need to protect your short-term day-to-day. All right, and then from there, we will zip over to, let's see what Saudi Arabia is doing with Aramco. There it is right there, Aramco. I've been pushing it down the last couple of days. Interesting. 4 days in a sell. It's just like West Texas, and you can see it's pushed itself into the weekly sell. This is a really good product. It's the Aramco company stock, pays dividends, and it's a good return. We've seen it as high as 30 something, 31, something like that, and now we're trading in the where are we at now in this product? Today we are at 27.45. So it's going to feel more pressure, but it's not the worst thing in the world, because it has a good dividend. So it pays well. From there, you know what? Let's take a look at the economy in Saudi Arabia by looking at the metals company, the fabricating company. Was it right? Where's it at? It's right there. National Metal Manufacturing. Let's see how it looks there. Now that's kind of been down and just hanging out. It's been in sells for weeks, months now. For months it's in a sell. A lot of pressure on it, but not really. When you really look at it, it's not the worst thing. It seems to be trapped in some type of triangle here between the where's that? Right. Oop, there we go. Between what is that? That is 1670. Ran all the way up to 1860, and we're trading in the 17.5 area. It's becoming weaker and weaker, but overall not bad. Let's see what Tel Aviv is doing. Like any classic market, now that they have a peace treaty, you would sell. Buy on rumor, sell on news. Excuse me. Let's see. We'll look at that. We'll take a look at the DAX. Excuse me. So let's see what Rocket's red glare is doing today. Tel Aviv, right there. Yeah, a little weakness in there. That makes sense because they've been rallying. It's been running very firm. Look at that move. Now that it's they got a negotiation thing all done. They've been speculating, and that'll obviously they'll do some type of bottom somewhere, maybe down here or in there. Or, right around in there, or it's hard to say where it'll end up doing it. Something like that. I guess it's a settlement thing. Like that, around there maybe, and then they'll see. Economically, it'll start following economics more again. It's been in a weekly sell for 2 weeks, so it's been back here. It's been telling us that they're taking the money and taking their profits and running. Let's take a look at Europe. We'll take a look at DAX. Right there. There's the DAX. DAX has been kind of lackadaisical. Look at that. Some strength finally. Still in the weekly sell for most of the month and last month. But look at that. It's trying to pop up. And we've been into a buy for like 3 days, and then back in. We're not in the sell yet, but the algorithm is underneath. We just need a red dot to do it, and we're in the weekly sell. So we get a sell. Maybe it'll break down, or maybe it'll stall out. From there, we'll take a look at the FTSE, and then we're going to get out of here unless anybody wants to see something. If you want to see something, tell me, and we'll show it to you. If not, we're going to get out of here. Let's see. There we are. There's the FTSE. FTSE's doing the same thing, trying to lift up, and it's second week in a weekly buy, so it's catching this move altogether. That's nice. Look at it. It's still in a buy. Been in a buy for a couple of weeks on a daily, even with those red dots. Today it's flirting with the weekly sell. That's what it's doing right there, playing with the weekly sell. So, but we're in a weekly buy, so you don't want to short this thing yet. But that's nice. I would imagine that petition has really got them psyched, you know? And the whole idea, you know, you're starting to try to grow again, you know? I mean, growth. Labor came in, did the opposite of what they said they were going to do, and the next thing you know is they want to basically impeach them. It's funny. All right, traders, we're out of here. This is Doc. We'll catch you tomorrow, same time, same channel. So, happy trails to you until we meet again tomorrow, Friday, TGIF. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Have a safe and smart trading day globally. Ta-ta.